Hi, everybody. Is this, you think, it that's going to be coming?
Yeah, probably. There might be a couple people that might come online.
Yeah. It seemed like there were about 15 people signed up. But, I'm Alex Cervello. I work in Res Life, and I've been doing the digital signage since it was installed in 2009. I've worked with the digital signage user group. And these slides, I kept it down to 8, and they're really packed full of information, more than what should be on a PowerPoint presentation. But this is a little cheat sheet for you guys to take home. Oh, you sure can. I printed quite a few. Yeah. And if you want it digitally, is there a sign-up sheet? I guess. Pardon?
Yep, there's a sign-in sheet. We'll have everyone.
Yeah, and then if you put your email on there, if you'd like, because I did make the free sites links on here, so if you want to go right in and just click the link, it'll take you to one of the free design sites. So I want to start off by saying that if you imagine graphic design, a huge iceberg, we're going to be concentrating on the little tippy top today. So this is just going to get, you acclimated with maybe creating some digital signage that's going to be a little more effective than, like throwing a novel up on the screen. Like some people do. So welcome to Digital Signage 101. Anyone can design simple and effective digital signage. So you might recognize this. This is the digital signage display that you see around campus. And the background is one of our beautiful sunsets. And the area that we designed for is this main content area, and it's 10 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall. So that's basically a default slide in PowerPoint and either on a Mac or a PC. Actually, it's a lie. They changed it on a PC. But I'm going to tell you how to get to it because it's a little buried in the program. So that's what we have for main content. That's just a slide that I created. It's as you can see, they're usually pretty plain. They have a graphic, large title, and then secondary information, real simple to spell out, what the details are. The one thing you want to remember the most is that most slides should answer the 5 W's, but we'll get to that. So for legal issues and copyright laws, even though we're a learning institution and these are considered like for learning, I make all my coworkers give credit for anything that they use because they're constantly right-clicking images off of the website. You can't just right-click and throw it up and use it. I know we're not exchanging any money or anything, but I think it's just a good thing. And I'll show you an example later on where I did give credit because I had a coworker who said, I can't do it. I'm like, well, try this. And so I'm going to show you one of her slides, and it turned out pretty good. So technically, the slide is considered a 4:3 ratio, and you can look for that wording in hi Cindy, morning. You can look for that wording in the program if you use PowerPoint. Is everyone familiar with PowerPoint? I didn't even ask that. Oh, okay. Do you use Photoshop, Jim?
Use Photoshop.
Yeah. Excuse me. You can create slides in Photoshop. The end result just needs to be a JPEG. And I'm going to tell you what this is.
I put Photoshop files into PowerPoint. I don't create things on PowerPoint. Is that what you mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you must be familiar if you're placing.
Well, the Mac version of it is.
Yeah, me too. That's why I have those instructions on here. Because on a PC, it used to be that the default slide was a 4:3 ratio, and so we switched to a 4:3 ratio, and now the default slide is considered a 16:9 ratio. Yeah, so they changed it. So if you click the design tab on a PC and go to slide size, you'll pick standard 4:3. Now it's called standard. It's not the default anymore. And on a Mac, you go to page setup and you pick on-screen show 4:3. So that's if you want to make it in PowerPoint. I always have my coworkers send me the PowerPoint and a JPEG. You can just save it as a JPEG or a PNG. The program will take both. But if they send me the PowerPoint and they a lot of times make typos, I can fix it for them. Once you make it into a JPEG, it digitizes it, and in order to revise anything, you have to go back to your PowerPoint document. So if you're going to be submitting you folks are going to be submitting to Campus Life, not me. I only do Res Life. But if you submit it to Campus Life as a JPEG, then your fonts will stay the way they look. They'll be digitized, and you'll be all set. There shouldn't be any problem with anything moving, unless you have a typo. Then she might send it back and say, "Could you fix this?" Anyway, and the only color restriction for the college campus that I know of is no red background. You cannot have a red background. That is reserved by UP for emergencies. So if there was a true emergency, UP would be using that. So like I said before, what you want your slides to, the content to answer the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why, or how. If you leave something off, I'll have coworkers say, the second floor lounge. Okay, but well, we have 13 residential communities, so make sure you explicitly say where your event is, or whatever it is that you are advertising. If you're not advertising an event, then different. So I always tell people less is best. Avoid busy backgrounds and then try to put lightweight text over top of it. That's just an example. You know what I mean, less is best. Be inclusive. How will people who need help attending your event contact you? That's going to be one of those things that we're going to be talking about a lot on campus and have for several years, the accessibility and accommodating disability. And you can use your digital signage for social media, but make sure you use alternative text. So if you post your digital signage, I do this all the time on Facebook, just make sure you write out what it is that you're advertising in addition to the JPEG that you uploaded. Just put it in the description. And there's a way to do it in Twitter too, but you have to enable it first, but you'll find it. It's pretty simple. And I use them as flyers too. I mean, yeah, they're the other orientation, but sometimes that's better. Everybody's designing flyers 8.5 by 11, and then they come across one that's a little wider. As long as you have space on a bulletin board, it works out pretty good. And one thing I always do is I take I can view it, and I think you can on a PC in thumbnail version. Make sure you look at it in thumbnail version when you're done. It really helps you maybe realize, oh, maybe that's not the heaviest font, that I need to use something heavier because it's not showing up. So that's just a little trick that I usually use. Okay. Oh, go pretty good here. I hope you guys have lots of questions. So I packed lots of information on this slide. So pretty much some basics of graphic design is, it's graphic design. So try to line things up. If you have some text or images and they're all flush left, make sure you line the left side up. and imagine it on a grid or a graph. And then line up the edges of type. Don't use too much type that is centered, because if you're walking past digital signage quickly, like most students are, and there's like a big paragraph that's all centered in text, all those ragged edges are really hard to read. So, you know, center text is perfectly fine. I use it, but if you're gonna, you know, maybe have a little more than what should really be on digital signage, you'll definitely want to make it flush bright. And I always say white space is your friend. I get a lot of requests from people who want, you know, it's like, oh, well, there's nothing over here. Could we put this? And I'm like, oh, well, you know, you want space around things. You want your information chunked in, you know, pieces so that, you know, people can see it much easier. And another thing I tell my coworkers is hierarchy of elements makes reading much easier. You always want to create one large main heading, whether it's in words or it's, you know, some kind of logo or something. You want that, and then the secondary heading or in a smaller font should answer the 5W, whatever you have. And conservatively include small details. I mean, sometimes I just have to put some things that they want on slides. And, you know, really, there are places where people can sit and watch digital signage. So if it's something that you think is really important, but you don't want it taking up the rest of the space, just, you know, put it on there for that reason. And this is my favorite. I tell this to everybody. Remember the picture superiority effect. So lots of research has been done on the retention of seeing an image versus a word. So I always tell everybody, don't forget the picture superiority effect, because after 3 days, a person has been recorded scientifically as retaining 65% of the image versus 10% of a word. So that's, you can look that all up online. It's there quite a bit. And then I always say use dynamic imagery that is impactful and pertinent. Don't just throw a little piece of clip art on there just to have an image. You know, you want to make sure it's something, you know, that goes along with your site. And if you don't need a picture, then don't put picture. You know, you can just do all words if you have that large heading and, you know, chunk it up like that. And then I can't see it under there. It says, if using as a background, if you use a photo or an image as a background, make sure you use heavy text over the top of it. And you can fade it in PowerPoint and whatnot as a watermark. So should I stop and see if you have any questions? Okay, let's keep going then. So this is an example of a digital signage that I created for a big event that ResLife holds its cruise around the world. And each resident hall picks a country, and students can pick up a passport at their front desk and go to each hall and explore you know, different countries and different cultures. So this, so the main image here is actually the title, Cruise Around the World, is what I created. And what I like to do sometimes is make sure that my slides are divided into thirds. So this bottom part, just, you know, your eye just likes to see thirds. It's called the rule of thirds. I'm sure many of you have probably heard that. I know Jim. But yeah, so the information on the bottom is just about 1/3, and you can see that the important information is quite large. And then the other information about picking up the passport, needing special accommodations. And then a little explanation, because otherwise maybe someone would know what Cruise Around the World is. Travel to each res hall for a chance to win people who get their cards, passports punched, they turn them in and they get entered into a drawing. So yes, contrast, you want to make sure you have lots of contrast. So you have dark on a white background. You know, just make sure you always have some type of contrast. Sometimes I get patterns in the background as long as it's light and the text on top of it is bold, then you can be pretty sure that that should be seeable or readable. And then make sure you scale it down, and that just helps your mind say, oh, you know, when people are walking by, they might catch what's on that slide. Okay, so if you're not a designer, no problem, because these are 3 free websites that you can go to. And I experimented with them, and these 3 slides or images were created in those sites. This one was really good. I like this one, Crello.com. As soon as I went into the program, it asked me what size I wanted to make my image right up front, what I wanted to design. They give you options that are free, and then there's little elements that you can buy for your own. So, you know, you can check that out. I found that one to be maybe my favorite. This one right here, the Mashtoberfest, that's the one that my coworker created. She kept saying, Alex, I'm not creative, I'm not creative. But I thought she did a really good job. And that was created in Poster My Wall. And Poster My Wall gets free advertisement because you can't create anything in Poster My Wall without them putting their little logo down there on the bottom. And that was created by Caitlin Owens, so I gave her credit. You know, little simple thing right there, to the top. And then befunky.com, the only way I found to create a digital signage in befunky was to use the collage maker. That's why I have collage maker up there. But basically what you get is, and it's very popular with students right now to make their 9 best or something and put it on social media. So this actually was a template, and it had 9 squares, and then you could change like the background. I made round corners, and I deleted the top part to put my text in, and I only used 3 squares on the bottom. But you can put photos in those squares that have something to do with your department, like Kristen could have people doing science, and Cindy, you can have, you know, orientation or career services. Oh, you know, career shows and all that stuff, you know. And you could actually put 3 up the right if you want, the left, the top, I mean, but basically that's all you get is 9 squares. And you can, you know, delete the top 6 and put your information in there, and that's befunky.com. But I kind of like that one too, because even if you're not doing digital signage, you can use it for other things. So that's why I put it on there, because it was kind of nice and it was free. So those are 3 options. I say don't use Canva. I know a lot of my residents and RSS staff, whatever, try to use Canva, and they do successfully and make a lot of nice posters and flyers, but I really couldn't find anywhere in there where you could resize it to a digital signage. Everything was like pre-made. If you want to make a brochure or something, Canva was pretty, you know, useful, but not for digital signage. I just didn't see. And if you have to hunt that hard to find where you can change the size, then I just don't use it when you have such 3 options. So you can use those 3 free websites to create your digital signage. Yeah, they make it pretty easy. I was going to bring one up, but and last but not least, thanks for attending. And like I said before, as campus departments, you will be submitting your digital signage to Campus Life. They have, when I send you the PowerPoint, you can click on it. Even if you search digital signage, their web page comes up first, and then they have format requirements and whatnot. Now, they ask a 5-day lead time for anything that you submit to them, and then they have rules about how long it can be left up. Like, you can't submit something to them and run it all semester. And then us folks in the other departments, like, you know, there's quite a few graphic or digital signage users who post in different buildings on campus. So what we do is we pull from Campus Life what we want to display. So that's the only way. If you want to ask that it definitely be put in Res Life, you can send me an email. I'd be happy to put it in on ours. But basically, we share with each other, and people take out of the pot, the large Campus Life pot, and advertise whatever it is that we want, you know, that I think might be interesting to the residents. And so be creative and happy designing. Does anybody have any questions?
The online creative apps, do they have any graphics and images?
Oh yeah, these were all. Yep. All. I mean, those were my photos in the collage maker that I uploaded. But I don't know. I just made that like a little nature walk or something. So yeah, those were free. And I think the Mashtoberfest, she did tell me that she paid for maybe the background because she liked the pumpkins and the weathered wood. But like I said, I don't know about Poster My Wall. I know definitely Crello, they were like 99 cents an element. So you could get different elements.
Oh,
and
they charge you?
They have free ones, and then they have they offer ones that you can pay for. Yeah, different elements. But they really did all have a lot of fonts. I was quite surprised. So you could choose, you know, this was a free font at Crello.com. Yeah, everything on there was free. And for befunky.com, I used a funky font. So that was free. So yeah, you know, they make it pretty easy. And if you ever, you know, if you need help with anything, you know, I'm on an email away. If you want to pop me a question in email, I'd be happy to answer it. I can't think of anything else to tell you. That's light. Yeah, that's about it.
I have a question. I work on the CIFA planning committee, and we really like to advertise our events, the visual side. And do you know like a certain population of students that would enjoy making digital signage for different groups on campus as like an internship experience or something? Because I don't know if there are certain major departments that we could look into, like drug designer. So like, do they have any like internship requirement or kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally we want to make sure that it's a good learning experience for students. There needs to be certain kinds of standards that students need to be held to, right? For it to be, you know, just making anything they want and anything goes is not a good learning experience for someone who's been designing, right? I mean, they have to critique and like, you know, send it back, make them do revisions and like method. But if that kind of oversight is there, then yeah, you can work with career services to set up an internship. You know, we have lots of students that, you know, it's hard to get a graphic design internship in Oswego. So on campus is good, and a lot of our students do that.
Yeah. You know who else helps out quite a bit is Lifestyle. They used to anyway. I know.
Aaron used to be on our committee.
Oh.
Yeah, so he did a lot of it, and we're still using a lot of his
Yeah.
stuff, so I feel like there
Yeah.
might be somebody else who wants that.
His replacement over there is Nikki. I think she's doing a great job. And I don't know if she has time, but yeah, I think she's doing a great job. I don't know if they allow that anymore. But yeah, Erin did do a lot for.
the committee, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you have to invite a student to be on. Someone from SA. Maybe. Yeah. Yes.
Do you know anything about like what is acceptable to put on a campus slide? Because a colleague and I are putting together a student anthology, an anthology of student work for the Grand Challenges for all. So we want to advertise more on the submission deadline. That's something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what I tell folks when they have a lot of information is break it down on a couple slides even. You know, if I get one and then they've got like a paragraph on it or a novel, I say, you know, how about if we take out the most important information and we'll do a series? And we do that quite a bit. We do also GIFs and movies. They can be placed in PowerPoint. And the software that displays the digital signage is like you can put a PowerPoint slide right into it. So that's something new since we've got this new software about a year ago. Maybe I was trying. Yeah, definitely.